So there was a girl who my birthday and her birthday were a week apart, and we were like, oh, like, let's do something all together because we had the same circle of friends. So we decided that we were going to do a pole dancing party. And I was waitressing at the time and had randomly come across, so these two people used to come in for lunch all the time, and they had a studio that was semi across the street. That the signage for it was always Zumba. I ended up coming across on Craigslist at the time, and I'm dating myself, but it was Craigslist at the time that they were looking for a pole dance instructor. So when she had come in, I was like, oh, this is so crazy. I saw that you're looking for a pole instructor. My friends and I wanted to do a pole dancing party. Did you find an instructor? And she was like, yeah, like we found this woman. She's really great. Why don't you come in and try a class? And then after we do the class, we can talk about the party, if you like everything or whatever. So I went in and took the class, and I was like, I like to dance, like whatever. I was like, this should be good. I'll be good at this. I was not good at it. It was so much more challenging than I thought it was going to be when I walked in that door. And I was in a mixed level class with these other women, and they were making it look so beautiful and so graceful. And I was like, wow, as sensual as of an art as this could be, you really could take it and make it anything. These women were gracefully flying through the air, and I was like, I want to be able to do that. So I like never left. I continued to take classes. We had the party there. We had a really good time. I ended up becoming an instructor when the first owner had sold. And then I worked under this woman for, I want to say like 4 or 5 years as an instructor. And we really started building up the program with pole. And then we started adding in the hoops was the next aerial thing that we had added in. So when she was selling, she had told me that she was going to sell. And I was heartbroken. I wasn't really interested in anything else that I was doing at the time. I was really just waitressing and kind of getting by. I went to aesthetic school, but I wasn't really going after that as much as I probably thought that I would have been after school. And I went to my brother's house that night, and my brother was like, well, why don't you buy it? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I really wasn't in a position at that point to buy a business. And he just looked at me and he was like, if you want it that bad, you'll figure it out. And I had an opportunity to work summers out in, I don't know if you guys know what Fire Island is. It's like an island. Yeah. So I had opportunities to work these summers in Fire Island, and you made great money there. So I had told the owner at the time, I said, listen, it's going to take me a little time. And I would never tell you if somebody comes with the opportunity and they're like, here's the money for the business, I take it. I said, you have to do what you have to do. But I just want to let you know that I'm interested and I'm trying. But give me a little bit of time, I would like to try to buy the business. So I worked like 14-hour days, 7 days straight in Fire Island for that summer. Took whatever I had saved from the previous summers, all of the money from that summer, and I just gave her everything that I had. And I was like, here goes nothing. And I just, from that point on, I was just, whatever it took to keep this place afloat, I just kept going.
You invested in yourself.
Yeah. It was like everything that I had to. And when I first started, I continued to waitress, and then I got a job waxing as well. So I was working 2 external jobs and running a business at the same time just to make sure we were good.
That's interesting. You made an acquisition. So how did you come to an agreement on the purchase price?
So she had initially was like, X is the amount of money for the business. And I had so much respect for her and how much she had put into the place. I didn't negotiate a thing. I was like, that's what you want. I'm going to figure it out. And it was like taking like I said, it was taking some time. And then she ended up, I want to say maybe like 3 months later, coming to me, and she was like, listen, I have something. Her husband and her were talking. She was like, I want to talk to you about this. She actually brought the business down like a significant amount of money. And she was like, most people, when you put a number out there, they'll come back at you and they'll negotiate it. She was like, but you never did. But this was our lowest point that we were willing to negotiate down to. So she even helped me out in the way that she was like, if you can give me half of this up front, we can work out a payment plan where you pay off the rest of it. So you don't have to take out a loan. There's no interest involved in it or anything like that. So I got very lucky in that sense because she really worked with me as far as... She also had said, we worked really well together, and I love that woman to death. And she had said it made it a little bit easier for her to let go of the business, knowing that I was going to be the person that was the successor of it, because it was like a piece of her continued with it.
Yeah, so she had to see something in you.
Yeah.
To invest that much into you.
Yeah, like, and I'm sure at the time the business was in a very different place. It really wasn't producing quite as much. Her initial goal was that the studio was Zumba and cardio kickboxing and things like that. And she had bought the studio with a couple of poles and a couple of pole dancers, and she didn't even want to take us on at first. It just wasn't her vision for the business. But her husband was like, you have these committed few women, you have the equipment, why not give it a chance? And then if it doesn't work out, you sell the poles and then you can continue on with the vision that you had. And then we ended up, like, the pole and aerial side ended up overshadowing everything else. And that just wasn't her goal. It wasn't what she was there for, what she was about. So it kind of became something that was separate from her.
Gotcha. So that purchase price included equipment such as the poles. It included the real estate.
Everything.
Okay.
The real estate, I didn't buy the building.
Oh, she was renting the space?
Yeah, she was renting the space. So the purchase price of the business is basically the entity.
Yeah.
So the client base, the
name.
equipment, the name, the website, like, it was turnkey at that point too. So
Like basically handed it over to you.
yeah, and it was kind of funny because it was just like, I went to work October 31st and I was an employee. And it was like November 1st walking into the same building with the same people. And now this is all on me.